Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Andrew DiStefano, Putnam County Crime Analysis. Now I'm on video number 2, and what I'm focusing on, the crime prevention through environmental design. Always focus on that second word, crime prevention through environmental design. Video number 2, reactive versus proactive. And I'll explain what I mean. All right. Now, as I put this together, right, when doing a SEPTED site assessment, you always have to address what is currently being done. What's the plan now, right? Now, the reason why you do that is because you're talking about replacing a plan that's in place. Sometimes you don't have a plan in place. Sometimes you're talking about a park, or sometimes you're talking about a couple of streets in a neighborhood where there is no anti-crime plan or crime plan to address outstanding quality of life issues. So you're starting from scratch. Here, I'm lucky enough to have this article that came out, and it has their idea of what their plan is going to be going forward. So I have something that I can draw upon. Right now, when you put your plan together, right, no matter what it is, you have to have a baseline measurement. How are you measuring this? You're going to put this in place. But how do you measure it? How do you measure success? How do you measure if you're doing a good job? I mean, that's 101. How are you measuring success? And if the job's getting done, how do you measure that? If the job isn't getting done, how do you measure that too? How do you give yourself a report card? How do you critique yourself? So, I mean, I don't see how you can get around that. You have to have a baseline measurement, because you're never going to know if you're doing a good job if you don't have a way of looking at, am I being successful? Is the can I measure success or can I not? So, and that's what a baseline measurement is, right? It allows you to measure success. Now, as I spoke about this before, April 19th, there was an assault on the trailway. 5 days later, April 24th, in reaction to the April 19th assault, a number of members of law enforcement went down to the trailway. Because why? Because May Impact News was there, and they were doing a story, and I guess they wanted to either become part of it or get ahead of it. So I'm lucky enough to have this, so now I can see what it is that they're saying that they're going to do, right? But understand something right now. This is reactive policing. This is in reaction to what happened October 19th, 5 days before, right? So some of these things here, I'm going to ask some questions here. The Putnam County Sheriff's Office, Department of Social Services and Mental Health, and DPW are directed to coordinate on the removal of any illegal encampments or squatting sites on county-owned lands, including the 12-mile trailway. Okay. Now, has that been done? I don't know. But, county departments will expand efforts to connect unhoused individuals with available social services and shelter programs. Has that been done? I mean, we had a cold winter. We all went through that. We all know what I'm talking about there. Now, this is very important. The Sheriff's Department, in collaboration with Department of Public Works and Information Technology, will install additional security enhancements along the trailway, including camera surveillance equipment and lighting in key areas. And then they also mention increased patrols in a couple of paragraphs down. All right. So I'm going to go through those one by one, just real quick. Now, camera surveillance equipment. Let's start with lights. Okay, lighting in key areas. Now, I always talk about this is my on the right side. This is my plan. It's going to be about 75 pages or so. Right, lighting in key areas. Well, as I said, anytime you're doing a plan, anytime you're going to attack an area like the trailway, right? You want to make it safe. You have to do a site assessment. With SEPTED, it's a requirement. You have to do a site assessment. which means you have to know everything about that trailway before you say we're going to do X, Y, and Z. So they say they're going to do lights on the trailway. Well, this is what the reality is. All right. Rules of the trailway. Number 4, trailway is officially open from dawn till dusk, which means what? Which means it's closed at night. All right. So this thing, this sign has been up for a very long time. You can see it. I mean, it's all got graffiti on it, in violation of number 12, by the way. But the trailway is officially open from dawn till dusk, which means it's closed from dusk till dawn. It's closed at night, right? That's number 1. Number 2, the April 19th assault that was the cause of this whole thing, that occurred in broad daylight. It had nothing to do with lighting, could not have prevented it. Number 3, I went through 105 pages of crime reports and police reports, right? 105 pages going back 5 years. I went through every single page, 5 years, okay? I could not find a single incident that occurred as a result of poor lighting. Not one, all right? So I don't know where the lighting thing came from. It may have sounded nice, but you don't need lights. Number 2, camera surveillance equipment. Camera surveillance equipment is good if you have the 2 C's, continuity and consistency. What is that? Well, you're on 65th Street and Madison Avenue. At any given time in Manhattan, you're on 30 different cameras at any given time, right? You walk 1 block south, 64th and Mad. You're on the next 20 cameras. Then you go to 63rd and Mad. You're on the next 20 to 30 cameras. Then you go to 62nd and Mad. You're on the next 20 to 30 cameras. Are you hearing me here? There's a continuity and a consistency where you're being spotted on everyone's cameras going forward for the entire route. Now, the Putnam County Trailway is 12 and a half miles long. Do your cameras cover all 12 and a half miles? No, of course not. Now, is somebody watching this thing 24/7? Are they staring at the camera 24/7? Of course not. That's not fair, you know. But that means it's not effective. Why would you need camera surveillance equipment? You have a couple of cameras. What are you looking at? What is it that you're looking at? You know, I don't get that. The cameras themselves, right? I know one thing. I know that politicians, they love optics. They don't really care if things work or they don't work, effective and not effective, but they love optics. They love to be able to look at, say, a CCTV, live feeds, and say, wow, these guys are all over it. They got the cameras. But what is the camera really doing? What is it? Is it picking up 12 and a half miles on the trailway? No, of course not. So the cameras are not effective. I don't know this for a fact, but I know Putnam County. I know how people think, right? I guarantee you that somewhere in the county, whether it's 40 Glenida, whether maybe Carmel Town Hall, I don't know, maybe the Emergency Operations Building, maybe the Sheriff's Department, I don't know. But I guarantee you somewhere up on the wall, there's a couple of live feeds with the cameras. And why? Because when a politician or elected official, that's a nicer word, elected official goes to that office and looks on the wall and says, wow, they got it covered. Look at that. The trailway is under surveillance. Meanwhile, it's not effective. You're not looking at anything, you know. You're not covering all 12 and a half miles. Nobody's staring at that thing anyway. If something does happen, do you have a team standing by ready to go at a moment's notice? No, of course not. That's not fair. But it goes back to my original point. The camera surveillance equipment is not effective. You know, it's not preventing anything. You know, you might be looking to try to catch a guy after the fact. That's, I was told that a long time ago. Andy, that's not why we're here. We're not here to catch people after the fact. It shouldn't take a woman getting her head bashed in order for us to catch a bad guy. We should be able to prevent it in the first place. And that's what crime prevention through environmental design does. Now, I'm just going to point this out about the cameras, right? Now I want you to take a look at this, right? This is brand new graffiti, just appeared in the last 2 weeks. It's on the wall in a tunnel behind 97 Old Route 6. This here, and right next to it is this, right? Now, where is this? This is not at some far end of the trailway. This is right at the site of the assault, and yet the cameras did not pick this up. All right, if your cameras didn't pick something up at the site of the assault, then what is the purpose of the cameras? You know, again, I'm not. You know, I know that this is Putnam County. You always have to preface everything with, "I'm being respectful," and no, enough. Okay, what is the purpose of the cameras? This is at the very site of the assault, and the cameras, to my knowledge, didn't pick this up. This just happened like 2 weeks ago. I mean, look at it. You know, this one too. It's right next to it. You know, and the cameras didn't pick it up. So if it's not going to pick it up at the site of the assault, it's right at the site of the assault, then, you know, what's the purpose of the cameras? Increased patrols. Increased patrols have been shown over and over and over in study after study after study, going back 60 years, that increased patrols are not effective for reducing crime, for reducing the fear of crime, and improving quality of life. It's just not, okay? It's absolutely not. Started with the Kansas City Patrol Experiment of 1972, an extensive years-long study. It is not effective for what you're trying to achieve. You know, and what are we trying to achieve? Reduce crime, reduce fear of crime. That's huge. Reduce fear of crime and improve quality of life. Right. So now what I was talking about before, I'm finishing up with this. How do you measure success, right? When they talked about there are 3 things that they want to do, right? It could have been any 3 things, but this time it's lights, cameras, and increased patrols. That's fine. Those are your inputs. What are your outcomes? And this is what I'm talking about by accountability. I talked about this last year. You know, we have never had accountability anywhere in this country, really. How many times do you see a politician, you know, put a law forth against the Second Amendment, and then the next year, do they do anything about this? Do they look to see if this law has been effective? No, they just write another law. Well, these are your inputs here. All right, the lights and increased patrols and the cameras. Those are your inputs. But what are your outcomes? What did you get out of those? The lights are installed. And this is what happened. We installed the cameras, and this is the benefit we got. We increased patrols. This is the benefit we got. If you can't say what you got, then you got nothing. That's what listen, I'm just telling you what I'm always taught. I know a little bit about law enforcement. I've been studying the PhD level the last 12 years. I know a little bit about what they're doing now in school. Okay. I will tell you this. I do see right here, and I'll finish again with this. The county will undertake a formal needs assessment to identify further measures to enhance safety, security, and accessibility along this trail system. Tomorrow morning, I'm submitting a FOIL request, and I'm looking for that formal needs assessment. It has been 201 days since that Mayapack News article. 201 days, and formal needs assessment. So heads up, I'm going to file a FOIL request. All right. And I'm pretty good at it. And again, this is for school. And I think this is, I love doing this stuff. It's a great thing. And that's about it. So I'll be getting ready for video number 3 soon. I'll be talking about SEPTED, exactly the 18 principles that I plan to, well, if they adopt it, which I know they won't, the 18 principles which I can bring or should be brought to bear on the trailway. So with that, this is Andrew DeStefano, Putnam County Crime Analysis. God bless, be well, be safe.